I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about that. Welcome back, folks. I'm going to give you a quick update on the rocker panel on our Tahoe Swapped International pickup. Then we're going to do some research on putting disc brakes on the back of my 1967 C10. I got an idea. All right. Well, before I take the camera down and show you where we're at, I'm going to, put in a clip here where I went outside and looked at the white pickup and then went down the pasture and looked at the green pickup. White pickup looks just like this one. The doors are kind of like wings. The green pickup, however, it's still not great, but it gave me confidence that the door is supposed to be flush. All right, let's take a look at this stuff. It's kind of down on the grass, but I think you can see that. So that door is hanging out there. The thing that, since I haven't really worked on the fenders yet, so that fender is hanging out past the door. Go to the other side. This fender is, level with the door, but that door is hanging out. All right, I'm going to take you down to the pasture and we're going to look at the green one. I'll catch you back on in a minute. All right, so here's the green one. Here's the one I'm a little more interested in. If we look at this, all right, so that door is flush and the bottom of the door, relatively speaking, is parallel to the rocker, which is what you would expect. But at this point, I just want to check everything. So this door is flush and the gap isn't bad. So let's go look at the other side. All right, so this door is out just a little bit and the gap looks good on the bottom of it. And the gap on the back of the door looks pretty good. Well, that's not bad right there. All right, let's have a look at the other side again. I didn't look at the top. Now the gap's a little wider on this side. And that might explain why I got, the gap isn't quite right. Looks like this door is sagging just a little bit. And it looks like the door could go back that way some. But all in all, relative to what we're working on today, I think I could say that that door is supposed to be lined up with the front of that rocker. Well, all right, we got our work cut out for us. Let's go see what kind of trouble we can get into. While my son was here yesterday, he's trying to swap in a 3.1 liter into an 89 S10, and back and forth on that thing, trying to work out all the bugs. I got the bolts loose on the doors, and as you might expect from a pickup been sitting in the pasture for a while, they didn't really want to come out. Anyway, I only broke one of the nuts off, so I only got to fix one of the 6. But I got that all loose, got the door jimmied around and fitting, I think, pretty good. So I'm going to take the camera down and we're going to have a look at it. All right. Well, the rocker don't look much different than, the last time we saw it. But the door is now, it's all even with the rocker. And the back, it's a little more rounded right here, so I need to sharpen that corner up just a touch. But it's all even on there. Let me get that door open. One of the issues, other than the door being out, the outside of that door has just a slight bit of curve on it. So I went ahead and cut this out. Last time you saw I cut that out while I was trying to monkey with it. Didn't really need to do that, but that's okay. But I went ahead and split this so I could take that bottom piece off and put a curve in it. Not much, but just a little bit. So I think it fits pretty good in there. Still haven't got it, I got to spot weld all of that. Got to finish welding up and spot welding the bottom. But all in all, I'm happy with that. That fits good. I think if we have to do the other side, we're going to make sure the door is where it needs to go. And I think I'm going to make a pattern of the curvature of the door. I save a whole lot of trouble. It's metal, right? You can make the biggest panel you want in little pieces. And, I've done that before. But my preference is to bend it and beat it and mash it and make it in one piece. It takes a lot of time to weld up these things. And then grind them down and then weld them back where you missed them. Anyway, if we have to do the other side, hopefully we learn something on this side. All right, so I'm gonna shut you off. I'm gonna gather some tools up, and we're gonna move the camera outside. I got a rear end hanging on the loader, so I'll get back with you here. Okay, so this is the rear end that I took the trailing arms off of when I was putting the Explorer. When I was extending the Explorer frame to fit underneath that '57 Chevy. I believe it is a 67 to 72 rear end. If you haven't had a rear axle apart, it's pretty straightforward. I'm gonna put the camera back up on the tripod, and we're gonna get this thing apart. First thing you want to do is get that back cover off, because to get the axles out, you need to take the spider gears out of the differential so you can slide those axles out. And the axle's what I want at this point. All right, this is a 12 bolt. There ought to be 12 bolts. 12 bolts. All right, the next step is you need to get the cross pin out, and I'll get the camera down. So you need to get that cross pin out right there, and the way you get that out is you pull that bolt out. The reason you have to get that out is because there's some C-clips that's at the end of the axle here that you have to push the axle in for those C-clips to fall out. So you got to get that out. You got to get that out. To get that out, you got to get that bolt out, and then you push the axles in, take the C-clips out, and the axles just come out in your hand. All right, let's get it done. Long bolt goes all the way through that pin. Also, at least on the GM stuff, ratio of the rear end is stamped on this. So this is a 1443. I can't do the math in my head, so divide 14 into 43, and that's the ratio of the rear end. There's the pin. Now we should be able to push an axle in and get a C-clip off there. There we go. That's all that holds the axle in. Well, that's what we need. Now we can go back inside and I can tell you about my idea. Oh, almost forgot. I need one of the spiders too. Anyway, that's not the spider. That's drive gear. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna shut you off. We're gonna go back inside on the table. All right. So here's the axle we just pulled out. It's out of the, let's call it a 67 C10. This axle is out of a 2000 Silverado. And remember, the Silverados have disc brakes. And they both have the same lug pattern. So you can, my thinking is, I could get disc brakes on my 67 and keep my 6-lug pattern. That seems like a right answer. So the task at the moment is to figure out if this is going to work. So the axles themselves, the length doesn't matter to me, right? My plan is to use the 67 C10 axle and the Silverado axle end that has the parking brake and all of that stuff on it. So a couple dimensions that are kind of critical. Everything can be worked around, but you know, some can be convenient. So the center hub on the Silverado is like 3 1/16. I better write that down. So I got 3 1/16, give or take. And I'll go online and I'll look up specs, but right now we're just trying to see if it's going to work. So on the C10 it's about 3 1/2. So the disc brake has to fit over that pilot, right? Currently the disc brake, the rotor fits over this pilot. To put it over this pilot, I'm thinking, and that's the reason why I'm kind of thinking about this right now, I think I've gathered up all the parts to make my lathe work. And if I could cut basically 1/4 inch off the outside diameter of that means the factory Silverado rotor would fit on the 67 axle. So the other critical piece is, are the bearing sizes the same way? Now, I've looked these up, and that's what made me think I could do this, is the parts I found said they were said they had the same axle in them. So I got 1628. Well, that's showing 1624. Make sure I got everything set right here. Oh, that's right, at 162. So what do we got over here? Okay, I must have had it a little crooked. I got 1619. And that's an old axle, so it may have a little wear on it. Okay, so let's call them 1620. I think that's the size of the bearing. All right. The reason I brought the drive gear out of that rear end is let's check and see if the splines on the axles are the same. So this gear came off of that axle. All right, so that thing doesn't have much play in it. That's good. Oh, okay. So that's good too. Not that you need to, not that that's a big deal, but one of my other thoughts is, rather than using the 67 axle, if I shorten the Silverado rear end assembly, I get a new ring and pinion, I get new bearings, I get all that good stuff. And I put in the C10 axle. That looks like that may be what we do. That way I could get an axle that fits the truck, or I can get a rear end that fits the truck. Remember when we did that first video in terms of how wide these things are like 68 inches wide, these rear ends. These are like, for the 67, they're like 63 or so, 63 and a half. So give or take, you need to take 5 to 6 inches out of it. That seems like, if I did that, so let's see here. What else we need to check on this? We know we're going to have to machine that down. The studs, these studs are bigger than those, so probably drill those out. Knock one of these out and find out what size they are. May have to actually order a reamer to get that thing to that size, but that's not a big deal. So we can put these studs in that axle. We can cut that down. So the other piece is the diameter of this has to fit inside that rotor. So can we measure that? Well, it looks like C10's shorter. Let's see here. Is this long enough? No, we're gonna have to just estimate it. You know what? I got a square here. Let's see what we got here. Whoa! That could have been painful. All right, so I've got about right at 7 inches. Oh yeah, that's like 6 3/4. So that flange will fit in the disc brake rotor for the disc brakes. And if you look at it, let's see if we line the back sides up. Man, I think those bearings, I think the wear patterns on the bearings are right at the same spot. Well, all right. Well, I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about that. I didn't realize the 8.6 was that. I thought they'd made a few other changes in there, but apparently it's like it's pretty much the same as the old 12 bolts. I almost forgot. The last piece you need to check is the size of that button. All right, you know, we pulled that C-clip out. The axles GM seems to play with this dimension. So let's measure. I got 253 and a half. My measurement probably isn't accurate to that, so we'll just call it 253. That's 311. So this is a C10. This is a Silverado. So, let's see here. What's that inside? Can I get my... There we go. I got 750. That's 775. Not sure that's enough difference to matter. $25,000. Well, we need to check that, but I don't think that's going to matter. As long as we use the right C-clip for the axle. And so, got more to learn. I'll go get a C-clip out of an 8.6. All right. So this is a C-clip out of an 8.6. And you know, there was 25 thousandths difference between that and that, so it's a little bit loose on that one. Pretty tight, right? It fits pretty good. But here's what's interesting. That 8.6 C-clip fits inside that 12-bolt gear. That means I can use the 12-bolt C-clips that fit better here. And that will be just fine. All right. Okay. Well, I know this is a short video, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get after the welding on that rocker panel. I thought you guys might be interested in this, so we kind of took a little break here. If you're interested in seeing this come together, you know, let me know. Say something in the comments or something. So I think that's about all we got. I got lots of welding to do. And I know you guys aren't that interested in watching me weld. So, if you haven't subscribed, man, please subscribe. If you have subscribed, I appreciate it. Make a comment, you know, give a thumbs up, and next time we talk, we're going to put a corner on that International. I am ready to get this driver's side put together. And if you're interested in this, I'm going to work on the lathe during the week, so if you're interested in this, let me know. All right, I'm Rand and Rand the Rod Shop, and we're going to get back to work.